Okay, so here we are with our third video on hands-on equations and what we need to do. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to model this problem. So what I have are two x's, another x, a constant value of 4, and then two more x's. This is equal to an x and a constant value of 20. So that's what that looks like. Now, on the left, I notice that I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 x's. So rather than having 2x plus another x plus a 4 plus 2x, I'm going to combine all of that because these are like terms. 2x and x and 2x all have the same last name. So I really have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 x's and a 4 being equal to 1x and 20. So now I'm going to solve it the way I usually do. And what I'll do is what I can take from the left, I can take from the right. I can start with my numbers or my variables. It doesn't really matter with this kit. So I think I'll start with my variables. So I'm going to take an x from each side. So when I take that x away from each side, I'm left with, as I can see, 4 x's and a 4 on the left. And I'm left with an, whoops, that should be gone. And I'm left with 20 on the right. So my goal is always to get my x's by themselves and getting down to a single x in a moment. But so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this 4. And if I take away 4 from the left, I need to make sure that I'm taking away 4 from the right. So my 20 is no longer a 20 because 20 take away 4 is 16. So now I have 16 on the right. And I don't want 4 pawns, I want 1. So 4 divided by 4, so I'm going to divide this by 4, so I'm going to split it into 4 parts, which means I'm going to split this into 4 parts, and 16 divided by 4 is 4. So x equals 4. So let's look at what that would look like without using a kit. Let's look at that algebraically. So coming back to where we were, we have our 2 x's, and then another x, and then a 4, and then 2 more x's. And then on the right-hand side, we have the 4 and the value of the 2 blocks here, which the two 10s together made 20. So I'm going to mark my 4, I'm going to mark my 10, I'm going to mark my 10. And earlier I told you that I could think about all of the x's on this side, the 2x, the x, and the 2 more x's, not as individuals, but as a whole group, because I'm combining those like terms. So I've actually have 5x plus 4 equals x plus the two 10s, which make 20. So starting with the x's, I'm going to remove an x from each side. So mathematically, I'm going to be removing an x from each side. So I write minus x under here. Now I can write minus x or minus 1x. It does not matter. 1x and x are the same because this coefficient of 1 means multiply by 1, and anything times 1 is itself. So I take 5 x's away and subtract 1 from them, so I'm left with 4 x's. Sometimes kids subtract just the x's and forget that there's actually a 1 here, so let's put that 1 there. That might make it easier for you. And then x take away x, that gives me nothing. Bring down my 4, so this is lined up nicely with my equal sign. I do not write anything where the x's were on the right because they're gone, and then I've got my 20. And then we're going to take, we took the 4 from each side, so minus 4 minus 4. So I'm left with 4x equaling 16. Notice that I have this gap here on the left where the 4's were and the gap where those x's were to start with. And then I don't want 4, I only want 1, so I divide each side by 4. And x, we said, as we saw earlier, was equal to 4. So the value of x is 4. And that's what I have up here. So now I'm going to check it. So I have 5x plus 4 equals x plus 20. 5 times of 4, because that's what 5x means. It means 5 times whatever you've got for your value of x. And we know that our value of x is 4. Plus 4 equals 4 plus 20. And 5 times 4 is 20. Plus 4 equals 4 plus 20. And if I combine those on both sides, I know that 24 equals 24. And so that is my check. If ever you substitute a value in for X and your numbers don't match when you do your check, that means that value that you got was not right.